Hi everybody, it's me Reidy with another episode of Beat the First Man, and coming up on today's show we are joined by the Superlatives on Zooming In. Top band, well worth listening to what they've got to say. We also announced the winner of the first tie of the Crap Kit Cup, so don't miss that. And there's loads more of your usual fun and nonsense, so what are we waiting for? Roll them titles! So episode 74 of our little show then, where we entertain the masses. I say masses, all of you who tune in to watch it. And if you're new on board the BTFM bus, please make sure, very important, you click subscribe down below and get involved in the show. We like your comments below, we like your likes, we like you on social media. Just get involved as much as you possibly can. If you're new or old viewer, thank you so much for coming over to watch. And don't forget, vote in the Crap Kit Cup. Very, very important. So, more on that later. But let's get started with our favourite, and we're going back to our old happy place with How Old this week. And yes, it's north of the border, back to sunny Scotland, and a Scottish hard man, equally at home in either defence or attack. So, he started his career with Birmingham City, where he made 170 appearances for the Blues, before a switch to Nottingham Forest saw him become a European Cup winner amongst his 137 matches for the club. A move to Leeds United followed, and another 56 games before he headed back to the East Midlands for a spell at Derby County. Numerous other clubs followed after that before he retired, but really it was at those four clubs where he made his name. At international level, he was also capped 20 times by Scotland, scoring one goal. So the man had some talent as well, it's fair to say. But despite all that he achieved, and again, European Cup winner, nah. That's not important. What's important is he's made it onto this. How old? So when this photo of Kenny Burns was taken, how old was he? Answer to be revealed, as always, later on in the show when Ted will be along with his usual guests. So with a whole host of Premier League matches, both in midweek and at the weekend, I think it's time we did another one of these. Here's Dad v Lad, fantasy football. So, welcome to Dad v Lad Fantasy Football. It's been a couple of weeks because obviously there's been no Premier League football. So, Kian, how are we?
Not too bad. We're all right.
Good. Are we glad that the Premier League is back?
Not well. Obviously, we've got to watch Leeds again. It's a bit depressing.
6 easy points coming up in the next 2 games.
Yeah.
I mean, Villa, tricky one, admittedly. But then we've got Frank Lampard's Everton.
That is true. That's what they're now known as.
Yeah, they're not Everton anymore. They're all those years of history have been washed away.
I was explaining this the other day, but they weren't having it.
Yeah, years of history washed away. They're instantly called Frank Lampard's Everton.
Frank Lampard's Everton, yeah.
Unbelievable. So, the reason you're here, fantasy football. So, we've had no games. So, I think what we'll do, we'll just go through the team that we've got for the midweek round of fixtures. So, obviously, there's a full midweek round of fixtures. We'll have to do our own transfers for the weekend, and then next week we'll do 2 weeks worth of results.
Oof.
So the whole thing
will swing around.
So
exactly.
Let's go. Who have you got in goal for your midweek games?
So in goal, I've got the same person who's been in for quite a while now. Edison's still in there.
Yeah, same. Edison, Brentford at home. Can't see him letting any goals in against them, to be honest.
So
just show the viewers the high technology way that you've got your team.
On the back of a photo that used to be on the wall.
Brilliant. Unbelievable. Right, so let's go defence then. Who have we got as your defenders?
So we've got Diaz, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Then I made 2 changes. I made 1 change in here, sorry. Oh, no, 2. Van Dijk's come in.
Yeah.
For Rudiger. Because obviously Chelsea have got no games next. Well, not even this week or next week. So he's come in. Ben White's playing as well. And then Reguilón's come in for Jota.
Right, okay. So I've got Diaz, the same. I've got Reguilón.
Yeah.
He's always in. I've got Gabriel, Arsenal. And I've got Connor Cody of Wolves, which is a bit of a disappointment because Arsenal are playing Wolves. So I'm hoping for an 0-0
draw. No one ever wants to hope for that.
No, but now I'm going to have to.
Yeah.
Or a 1-1 draw and Cody scores.
Yeah. Cody and Gabriel headers.
Yeah. Well, I've got another Arsenal player as well, so I've not thought that through very well, have I?
No.
So who have you got as
So
your
I've got
midfield? Now I'm a little bit
Bernardo.
disturbed in midfield to see a little orange exclamation mark next to a certain player because there's been no mention of him being doubtful.
I think I know who you mean.
Yeah.
Because
So
I have one as well.
Let's cut to the chase. Why has Rafinha got a little orange square next to him?
I don't know, and I'm quite scared.
Yeah, because nobody else has mentioned that Rafinha is doubtful with a knock.
Yeah. I mean, I hope not.
Yeah, well, there's been no mention of it at all, so surely he's not.
And he was posted today in all the photos as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, so I'm not having it. So the fantasy football bullshit. That's what that is. So who have you got as your midfield then?
So I got Bernardo Silva, Rafinha, and Bowen. Got a 3-man in the middle.
Oh, so I've got 4 in the middle. Go on.
I have my 5 at the back, so 5-3-2.
So I've gone Rafinha, Jota. I've brought Salah back in, but I'm not 100% convinced he's going to play. But I've gambled.
That's why I've left him on the bench.
And Emil Smith-Rowe.
Yeah.
Famous Leeds United promotion winner.
Just love him for that.
And who have you got as your strikers?
Stuck with them. I've got Antonio and Dennis both up there.
Well, I've got Dennis possibly. I reckon I've got the worst striking partnership in the history of fantasy football.
Go on.
Which is harsh on one of these players. He's only very, very young. But in terms of point scoring and the history of fantasy football, it's got to be one of the worst partnerships. So I've got Timo Pukki.
Yeah.
And Joe Gelhardt.
That is not great.
No, I'm relying on my midfield to get me a lot of goals.
Yeah, evidently.
My theory is Gelhardt's going to play because we're desperate for someone to play up front. So I think Gelhardt will play at Villa. So my theory is
hopefully
he will get a chance. So he may score. And Norwich, if they do score, Pukki tends to either score or have an assist.
Yeah, he's usually involved, isn't
he? They don't score very many.
So they rarely score.
Yeah, so that is an issue. So, but I've left Dennis of Watford on the bench because they got West Ham away and I just can't see him scoring. Not with Roy Hodgson.
He let me down. He let me down last time, so I need him to help me again
on the bench, and along with the 2 Chelsea players because obviously they're in Abu Dhabi or wherever they are.
I wish I could remember who's on my bench. To be honest, I know that Salah's on there. I brought him back in. Romeo, Gelhardt, and Foster. There you go, all 4.
There we go. So let's just have a quick look at what the point standings are because it's been a while since we checked it. So you are on 1193 and I am on 1088. So it's 105 points difference, but we've got 2 sets of fixtures before we next record. So
it could all change.
I could be in front by the time we next record.
Well, hopefully not.
Timo Pukki masterclass incoming.
Sure. I wouldn't put your money on it.
I'm not going to put my money on it. So you're back later on in the show, Kian. What have we got on Listen Up this week?
Obviously, I can't tell you it, but as a little clue, just up there.
Is it a single or an album?
It's a single. It's got a big clue.
It's quite a big clue, really. I mean, let's be honest. Jesus Christ. Let's just axe that part of the show, shall we? Brilliant. So come back later on to see Kian choose a song by a Man City fan who used to sing in a really famous band as he's listening up for the week. But no more clues. Yeah. So from now, from Dad v Lad Fantasy Football, I've been Dad Reidy. This is Kian Lad, and it's back to the show. So there we are then, a lot of matches to be played this week. So I think there could be a big swing coming this week. Don't forget to tune in next week when we'll have a bit more Dad v Lad Fantasy Football. But time now though, for some of this. The name game. Yes, the name game. So we give you five-a-side team names for you to steal shamelessly and go and use should you enter a 5-a-side tournament or league. And as always, they're not your standard team names. So let's start. Number 1, Real Sociopath. Bit dark maybe, but still very good. And watch the reaction of other teams when you turn up with that team name. Number 2, Getafe Mi Sister. Now, just have a think about it. I'll repeat it. Getafe Mi Sister. Very good. Number 3, Porto Cabin. Excellent. We like that. That's a fantastic effort. Whoever come up with that one. Number 4, Leave Me Barcelona. Again, very good. And number 5, definitely my favourite this week, Paris Ganja-Man. Excellent work. We do not condone the use of social drugs on this show, but it was a very funny name for a five-a-side team. Anyway, zooming in, we're back on the musical front this week, and I was joined by a couple of the lads from the band The Superlatives, where we talked about their music, their football. You get to see a video clip of them in action. So what are we waiting for? Here's zooming in with The Superlatives. So welcome to Zooming In, where I'm delighted to say I am delighted to say I'm joined by The Superlatives. There should have been 2. There's only 1 because one's running a bit late. So Tom, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thanks. I'm doing very well. How are you, Mark?
Yeah, I'm not too bad at all. So we've had a message that Charlie's running late. Obviously, we'll face a podcast fine when he arrives. We'll have to come up with some sort of forethought. Maybe he can wear a Celtic shirt at your big gig coming up.
I think he'd enjoy that. I think he'd enjoy it. It matches Rangers tattoo very nicely.
So Tom's a big Leeds fan as well as being part of the Superlatives, but we will get onto the football in a little while. But let's start with the music. So as I ask all my musical guests to do so, there will be people out there who don't know about the Superlatives, what you're all about. So sell us the band, Tom.
Oh, it's a difficult task, isn't it? So I think from our side, I'd kind of class us as a bit of a mix of kind of noughties indie, bit of 90s kind of Britpop, a bit of the kind of, I guess, more guitar-focused Manchester stuff from the 90s, and then a bit of British punk from the late 70s thrown in for good measure. So a bit of a cocktail of all of those different influences.
Definitely, because I always try to compare anyone that comes on here. I try and compare them to someone else just to give people a rough idea. And you guys were very difficult because everything you've just said there you can find it all in one song.
I think that's part of the fun. Yeah, I think for us it's like obviously all big fans of music, listen to a lot of music, listen to a lot of varied music as well. And I think that hopefully makes its way into the songs and the way that they're kind of pulled together. But I know what you mean. There'll be a certain song that you go, oh, this is quite nice and relaxing, and then next moment it's gone a bit nastier. Yeah.
I listened to, is it Sondor, the last one? The last
song.
Yeah. So now that is a real. You've got the Arctic Monkeys in there. You've got Kasabian in there. There's 2 or 3 different bands that you can hear those influences in amongst it. And I say that's just in one song.
Yeah, I like that, and that's a weird one for us as well. I think in terms of it being in terms of where that bass line kind of came from. A lot of it was an old song that we had kind of being reworked, and me trying to emulate Peter Hook from Joy Division. So it's lots of I know what you mean, as in kind of mixing and mashing together all of those different bits and bobs.
I think you're right. Anybody that likes that sort of that indie music from the 90s, the noughties, and the Britpop stuff will love your music, because it really is right down that people's avenue. And for me, that was what I literally listened to for about 10 years. So I'm all over your music now.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, glad to hear
it. So obviously I do a bit of professional stalking. It's one of the things I do with bands as soon as they agree to come on. And it looks like you've got a big homecoming gig coming up in Leeds this later on in March.
So we've had to postpone it from March to July. So it'll be now on the 9th of July at Santiago. So we've never played at Santiago. So really looking forward to it. But it's a last minute thing that unfortunately we've had to postpone it till July. But really looking forward to it.
Yeah, have you been, obviously COVID put a hold on everything for a while. Have you done a lot of gigs since you've been allowed back out gigging, or?
So I think we've tried to do as many as we can. So last night we played in Mexborough. So I think we funnily enough, I think of all the reopening, we've not played in Leeds since. But as soon as the doors were opened, we were keen to play anywhere and everywhere. So I think we were in Widnes, and then we were in Hull, and got some bits and bobs coming up in Scotland in July as well. So just trying to get out there again and just enjoying playing. I forgot. I think when you're playing consistently for a long period of time, you don't necessarily like take it for granted, but you don't appreciate how fun it is. So it's been a real nice reminder of how much I've missed it, being able to get out and about again.
Yeah, I can imagine. And just as somebody who goes to watch gigs, it's, you know, when you went back to that first one, it was like, oh, yes.
Yeah, did you go to any of the... So I went to a few kind of in COVID with restrictions gigs. Did you manage to get out to any of those? Because
No.
It was weird. So a band called Shame were playing at the Brood now. They're quite lively, London-based kind of young, fairly punky band. But with COVID restrictions, you were all sat down. So it was kind of a strange setup where you kind of sat down to something where normally people would be running around, and they were obviously going wild on stage. And you think for them, it must be surreal. So odd to kind of get that feeling of, oh, do we sound good? Because nobody's moving, but obviously everyone's been told, not allowed to move.
Sit down. So looking at the, obviously we're just coming into 2022. The latest single you brought out was sort of the middle of last year. Have you got any new music planned for this year? Have you got any more music to come out this year?
Yeah, so we were in the studio in December. So we've got another 3 songs. Because of illness kind of between Christmas and the New Year, Charlie wasn't able to get his vocals down until a few weeks ago. So yeah, they'll just be getting mastered, and then I think we'll be releasing those 3. It's a weird one, actually, when you're talking about playing gigs. One of them we recorded having never played live, and that's the first time we've ever done that. So yeah, it's an interesting kind of take on it. So it might be that it's, you know, the best thing we've ever written, or it may be that it doesn't stand up and we go, oh, that's why we road test stuff before we record.
If people like it, people will like it when there's, you know, you never know. Might be the best thing you'll ever do.
That's it. That's the angle I'm looking at it from. So no, 3, like going back to what we were saying at the start as well, 3 incredibly varied songs as well. So something that's probably slower than anything else we've done, something that's as kind of abrasive as anything we've ever done, and then something that kind of sits somewhere in the middle of the 2. So yeah, really excited for them to be released, because we've been playing around with them for a year or so. Got them recorded in December, and just eager to get them out and about. Cool.
And when do you think they'll be released, Tom?
Oh, good question. I should know, and I don't. I think I'm hoping kind of end of February, early March would be the aim.
Excellent.
Yeah, not doing very good at promoting us here, am I? Not knowing any of the dates or the details.
Don't matter. Don't worry about things like that. So a little bit of fun then. If you could collaborate with any other musical artist, dead or alive, who would you go for?
Oh, do you know what? I think there'd be... I'm trying to think whether to go... I was going to say living legend, but I know they kind of fairly recently died. I'd love to play with like Tom Petty. I think that would just be something quite, like an absolute legend. Seems like a really nice guy, musically interesting, completely different genre, I would say, to what we do. Or go kind of opposite end of the spectrum and pick someone electronic that just would never mix or blend with the Superlatives. So I'll do a bit of a mix. I'll say, Tom Petty on one hand, and then someone like Fortet on the other hand.
Very much a mix.
This is where Charlie's take on things. He's kind of left me to my own devices. He's getting Fortet in there as
he's going to be raging when this goes out.
But Fortet, what? No, not listening to that.
It's when you drop all his 5-a-side players out of the team.
He's going to be fuming when, certain. I know there's one individual that we've already bickered about. So let's see if he makes it in time so that his keeper of choice makes the cut.
So on the music collaboration, we do a little twist on it as well. So you get the opportunity to play with those artists tomorrow, but you can never play music again. Do you take up that option?
Oh, do you know what? Genuinely, I wouldn't. I think it would be... Because I guess it'd be like being, there's people where school was their best days of their life, and they're always talking about how much they love school, and kind of 20, 30 years on, they're still talking about that time. I think you'd look back on that one date of playing with that particular person. And whilst it would have been incredible, it's kind of done. Whereas I think being able to go play, create new songs, do new things, that'll never get old. So yeah, as amazing as it would be, no, I'll stick with
that. You've turned down Tom Petty.
I know I'm picking Jamie and Charlie over Tom Petty.
There you go.
That's
so
bold,
when you drop his player from the five-a-side team, at least you can say you picked him over Tom Petty.
That's it. Yeah, that's true.
To be fair, there's only a couple of bands ever who have said, nah, that's it, we're folded, we're done, and that's it. But most people do say exactly as you said, which is they'll stick with the music.
No, I think there's just something that, I just can't imagine hanging it up at any stage. So I think, just having that being the key seller for me. Now I'll keep with Jamie and Charlie for now.
No, sounds good. Right, so it's only fair that we see a little bit of you boys in action. So here are the Superlatives. Right, so there you go. So if you like that, the best thing you can do is head over to Spotify, head over to Apple Music, head over to wherever you download your music from, get the boys on your phone, linked through your stereo, and give them a listen because they're good lads. Now, Charlie's not here, which is a bit disappointing because I've wasted a whole line that I'd set up here beautifully about Leeds being a bigger club than Rangers as our opening gambit. But he's not here, but I'm still going to use it. So, Tom, as Leeds are a bigger club than Rangers, we're going to start with you.
Nice, and this is the much contested five-a-side position as well. So for goalkeeper, admittedly,
don't come on to that yet. I've got some football questions first.
Oh, sorry, getting ahead of myself.
We're going to talk Leeds first, Tom. So this season we had a brief chat off air about how we feel this season's gone. So realistically, are Leeds in a relegation battle, or do you think we're going to comfortably finish away from the bottom three?
I think it's going to get hairy for a bit, but I'd be surprised if we end up in that relegation battle. I think there's too much quality in that fully fit squad, and I think too strong. Once we get some key players back to be in a relegation battle. So I think it'll be. I'm not saying it'll be kind of clear cut finish where we did last season, but towards the end of the season, I think we'll be in the clear. Yeah.
And of course, it's a very dangerous night to be talking about avoiding relegation because we're recording this literally about an hour before we play Aston Villa.
That's the pressure. I was thinking that, especially when I'm thinking, fully fit squad. Thinking, I know, thinking about about 8 players out at the moment.
Will we ever get a fully fit squad again?
Yeah. That's it. Or people's injuries where it's like, they're coming back in a few weeks, or Bamford coming back scoring, then pulling a hamstring celebrating or whatever.
Only us.
Exactly.
So last season, let's go back to last season, happier times. Obviously it was our first year back in the Premier League after 15, 16 years of waiting. There were no fans in the ground, but we were still treated to every game on the TV. I know how I felt watching how was it to sit there watching what unfolded, which essentially was an unbelievable season?
It was incredible. So I think from the off, so that Liverpool game, opening game of the season for us was just insane. I think it just surprised me that it didn't feel like we were a newly promoted side. It felt like we were going toe to toe with one of the top teams in England, if not in the world. So, and it just continued. I think some of the results, especially the game against Man City, Stuart Dallas playing an absolute blinder with 10 men beating Man City. You just think like it's an unreal season. Because you see, I think there was a bit of me that looked at Norwich a couple of seasons ago, where they got promoted. They tried to continue playing in the way that they'd been so successful in Championship, and then got relegated straight away. And there was that kind of fear for me with Leeds, but no, just seemed to have absolutely smashed it. And the amount of fans that have come on board, Leeds being the neutrals' favourite, is
surreal.
Such a bizarre, it's such a strange statement, isn't it? It's like, it's gone from dirty Leeds and we all hate Leeds to Leeds are playing proper football. And I think Graham Souness was massively complimentary the other day, saying you wouldn't see that on the Bielsa side. They're playing good football, good, honest players. You think this is, worlds apart from the previous label thrown at us.
It's quite strange because I think we're all resigned to the fact that potentially in about 16 games time, we might have the parting of ways of a certain Argentinian manager who we've all absolutely fallen in love with. Are we ready for that breakup?
No, I don't think we are. I don't think there's anyone that I can naturally see as a replacement. I think the only positive, so where me, Jamie and Charlie are all from in Wetherby, is the secret Bielsa hiding spot. They used to live above a chiropodist in Wetherby. And the rumour is that his wife has moved over. So people have seen him with his wife. So that's my only hope, that we might get to kind of eke another season out of him. Or she may have come over to, take him back to Argentina.
Drag him back.
But I can't trust him to go back. So I'll come over and bodyguard him for a bit and then take him back. But I'm hoping one more season at least. But I'm worried.
And for Leeds fan, it's not just for what he's done with us getting promoted, because that was brilliant in itself. But what he's done, for me, he's completely united the fan base like I've not seen since probably the David O'Leary days, where everyone was pulling in the same direction.
Completely. I think that's it. And I think the way that he has, as you say, completely changed how the club operates, changed reliance on particular individuals or having that kind of star quality, but and having to manage particular egos, there does seem to be a genuine togetherness within that squad.
Yeah.
And even looking at some of those players that you go, they're absolutely brilliant for Leeds, can't believe they went. Actually, the overarching aim and the kind of things that he's instilled in that squad are amazing. So I'm thinking when Janssen was sold, you thought he's been a kind of linchpin of that defence, but then bringing in Ben White as a replacement seems like a genius move in the end.
I remember watching that Bristol City game, his debut, Ben White, and you sat there thinking, oh my days, what have we got here?
Well, that was it. Yeah, I think it was. Having watched that, it was. Have we got an ability to buy him? It's like, no, there's no ability to buy him. It's just a loan. But what he'd been on loan last season, the season before in League One. So he was a complete unknown, and we were selling someone who, at one stage, I think we'd had bids in from Southampton. Obviously, someone who was seen as a Premiership quality player, and admittedly with Brentford, he's looked fairly solid since. But just that ability to kind of manage a squad and remove any egos or show any favouritism, it's just incredible.
Yeah, amazing. So one more question before we go on to the five-a-side team. Ignoring the players in your five-a-side team, your favourite ever Leeds player. So if you were going back in the playground tomorrow, who would you be?
So I was a keeper, not a very good one, but that was the position I played. So it would definitely, I think Nigel Martin would have to be in the running. but if not, and not to reveal too much, but Lucas Radaby, just what a legend, what a start. And over lockdown, I was listening to some of the Match of the Day top tens.
Yeah.
And he was routinely mentioned as what a bargain he was as well. And just what a
absolute steal.
What a player. So yeah, I think either Nigel Martin or Lucas Radaby would be up there for me. How about yourself actually? Who's your favourite?
I mean, as a Scotsman, I'd have to go Gordon Strachan every time. I think what he done for us when he came to the club as a washed up Man United player, in Ferguson's words, and literally dragged us up from the Championship as it is now, and then won us the title 2 years later, and was just incredible. So for me, every time Strachan, he's just legend. Eddie Gray, if I'd have seen him play other than YouTube clips, because I love Eddie Gray, and having met him once, he was just the nicest man in the world. And I was just on another podcast yesterday, just saying that, and the guy had never seen the Eddie Gray goal against Burnley. And I said to him, when we finish this podcast, go and Google Eddie Gray YouTube goal against Burnley. And I got a text about 10 minutes later saying, oh my God. So Strachan, I think I'd have to go Strachan, but Eddie Gray a close second.
Close, yeah, it's close.
Yeah.
That's a solid answer, yeah.
So, on the flip side, your worst player, and we've had plenty to choose from.
Oh, yeah. I'm just trying. Worst Gleaves player. There's a few, and it sounds a bit harsh. So, I don't know if he was the worst, but the least consistent. I'm going to say his name as well. Would be, was it Beluski as a centre back? Who one game you'd see him and you'd be like, oh, you just had some games and you go, you can play football, like you genuinely are a decent footballer. And then the next game it's like you just would get sent off or just do something. You go, what was going through your mind? So I think in terms of worst, just in terms of being infuriating, I think it would be Beluski.
That's a fair shout. Well, I'd go for the. Do you remember the Albanian centre forward we signed on loan, Edgar Carney?
Oh yeah.
Well, I had the misfortune. He came on as a sub away at Wigan, and we brought him on to obviously go direct and hit him long. And I've never seen a 6'5" bloke so appalling in the air. It was just incredible. It just was awful. And dear me. Thankfully, those days are consigned to history.
Yeah, I was thinking that. That feels like a long time ago.
Yeah. So we can move on to your five-a-side team because all Charlie's players have now been dropped.
This is it. Yeah, he's going to be fuming.
He's going to be raging. So let's start then. So usual rules: 1 goalkeeper, 1 defender, 2 midfielders and a striker. You have to have seen them play live. They're the only rules. So let's go with your goalkeeper.
So mine, and this is where Charlie will be annoyed. So Charlie wanted to put forward Alan McGregor, solid keeper, long career, still playing for Rangers. We when we were last up in Glasgow.
Oh, hang on. We've got to let him come in.
Is he joining at this moment?
So Charlie is here. Just about.
Just as I was about to drop McGregor.
I know,
as well.
He'd be fuming.
I think it's a handle.
Aha.
Charlie.
How you doing? I'm sorry I'm late.
Well, you're almost just in time. If your camera's not on those, we can't see your pretty face.
Yeah, give me a minute. There we go.
There we go. Now, Charlie, there is a punishment for the fact you're late, I'm afraid. And you know this big gig you've got in the Santiago bar?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to arrange for a Celtic top to be delivered for you to wear on the night.
It's not going to happen, pal.
Welcome, Charlie.
How are you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm very well, mate. Don't worry. Tom has been an excellent stand-in. And he's taken all the questions. But we've just got to the five-a-side team part. And he was just about to drop one of your players. But now you're here, you can bicker about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about this on Saturday, won't we?
Right, so we'll go with the goalkeeper then, Tom. Are you going to be brave and keep the same man, or are you going to let Charlie have his man now he's here?
We had agreed We were like, you'll see the trade off we've made when the centre backs announced or when the defenders announced. So I think now that Charlie's arrived, more than happy to honour Alan McGregor as the keeper. The backup choices were Kasper Schmeichel, admittedly when he was a Leeds player, but he's a top quality keeper.
Yeah.
And then I think we had some others in there as well, like Paul Robinson, and I'm trying to think, and Nigel Martin would be up there as well.
Yeah, I watched Paul Robinson score against Swindon in the FA Cup. I think it was Swindon.
It was like a 93rd minute equaliser or something stupid.
It was, yeah. I was there, yeah.
Right, so Charlie, you go next. So who we got as your defender?
The one, the only Mr. Lucas Radaby. We both went for. Both quite all right with that.
What a man.
Well, growing up round Leeds, the man's a legend, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a true legend. And just an all-round amazing guy as well. And I think if anything epitomises Leeds United for probably when we were kids, me and Tom, it's probably that man there. You know what I mean?
And I think his backstory is incredible, isn't it? You know, if people take, honestly, if you're just watching this and you don't know Lucas Radaby's backstory, go and read up about his backstory, because from where he came from to what he ended up doing is astonishing, absolutely astonishing. I can't argue with it. He'd be in my best ever Leeds 11, hands down.
Yeah,
fantastic player, fantastic footballer, and like you say, generally comes across as a really, really good bloke as well.
Definitely, ledge.
Right. So first of your midfielders, then.
So I'm going for the person who, having just seen them amongst a group of fairly prolific players, just look like a different level in a league above. So we've gone for Modric. So yeah, Luka Modric. So saw him playing for Real Madrid. So I saw Benzema, Bale, Ronaldo, Toni Kroos, and he just looked a league apart. Just looked like he was just the one that you thought. And again, against that kind of caliber of player, just unbelievable.
Can't disagree. And as a short man myself, he is one of the king of the short men. He is a legend. Him and Messi, all those short guys, we stick together. And Luca is right up there as one of the short man gods. I watched him getting kicked to bits in the Bernabeu. I went with my lad to the Bernabeu, and they tried to kick him to pieces, and he just glides away from him. He's got.
That's the thing. It looks effortless, doesn't it? Some of the things he does, you just think, just a quality. Yeah, he never gets stroppy, never gets upset, just seems to just crack on with it. And he must get kicked more than most as well.
Definitely. So, who are we having alongside him then, Charlie?
Unfortunately, we had to pick someone who played for Man U.
Now,
which was particularly happy
shall
about.
I read out the message that I had?
Go on then.
So, your colleague in the band was not very happy with this choice. Let me just, where is it? Talk amongst yourselves.
I was going to say, this will be Rob as a Liverpool fan. Yeah.
Good job I'm not on, mate. Anything to do with Scum, I'd go mental. I will let you work out which player it is. I effing hate the chap. I think that's what the 4-letter C word meant.
Yeah, that sounds like Rob.
So reveal all.
It's Cristiano Ronaldo. I saw him playing when he played for Man United. I think Tom's seen him when he played for Madrid. But he's arguably one of the best players ever, isn't he? If you've seen him and you're asking us to put a team together, you've got to stick him in if you can, haven't you? Unfortunately.
We're kind of sneaking in that attacking threat as well in midfield, because when Charlie saw him, he was the midfielder back in the day. So we're thinking he's quite a good person to kind of sneak into that position as well. Yeah,
it's painful though, isn't it?
Yeah, it hurts a little bit, but
it also helps. I think it's a nice one for Jamie as well. So Jamie, Man United fan, we've got to be kind. We've got Rangers representation. We've got some Leeds representation.
But Alan McGregor is a good keeper. It's not like he's a bad keeper. He's a very good goalkeeper.
Because the other midfield option I wanted and I was pushing for was Maurice Edu, who was a terrible player, but always put an effort in. But yeah, not a very good player, but he just seemed to try. Just try. Like one of those people who's a professional footballer, despite their lack of natural
lack of ability.
Yeah.
It's just nothing.
One thing you can guarantee, in 10 days' time, our friend Mr. Ronaldo will get a lovely reception when he turns up at Ellen Road.
Yeah. There's a clip of him when he's really young getting kicked to bits at Ellen Road, isn't there?
Yeah.
I've watched that a few times. It's mega.
I think he might get the same again, I think.
I reckon he might.
Yeah.
So who are you putting up front then? Who's going to be your star striker?
So we've gone heavily in the five-a-side tactic of someone who will not run or move, but will be able to score from anywhere. So we've gone Mark Viduka.
Oh, it couldn't be anyone else.
That's where he, yeah. Are you gonna run around? You're gonna put a shift in?
No.
Will you be able to score from anywhere and probably sneak a fag at half time? Yeah, go on then, Viduka. Give it a go. So
I always tell a little story about Viduka whenever anyone talks about him. So when they played that famous Liverpool game, the 4-3, and when we went 2-0 down after I think it's about half an hour or so, we were 2-0 down. And there was a bloke behind me and he was raging at Viduka. Fucking run, Viduka. Fucking do this, Viduka. Fucking do that. And he caned him for about 10 minutes. And when he scored the 4th goal, the bloke in front of me just turned around and said, mate, are you happy now? And the thing was, he didn't run that day. He scored 4. He didn't run an inch. He wasn't interested.
I'd have loved it if looking at his, like, if they had the stats and the tracking that they do now. Just Viduka would have easily been sub 3 kilometres a game, I reckon.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Easily.
But the thing is, if you put him in this Leeds team, ignore the fact that he wouldn't do the pressing and the chasing and the running, because we know he wouldn't do that. But the chances that we create, my days, how many would he score in a season?
Yeah, exactly. It was just always in the right place at the right time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Always.
Absolutely. And now famously running a coffee shop in Croatia.
Yes.
Yeah, Tom said that, yeah.
Yeah.
As bizarre after career moves go.
I was thinking that, but I reckon, again, running it, quite hands-off approach, I reckon he's got to run in a coffee shop. I can't imagine him now deciding that, and put a shift in. And
he ain't running out the back to get the beans, is he? Let's be honest.
Well, he used to live in Wetherby, did he? Where we grew up. A lot of these players did, because obviously the training grounds at 4 Parks just down the road. And we used to see all that famous Leeds. We used to see like Rio Ferdinand in Morrison's. Do you know what I mean? And obviously it wasn't like, I think Alan Smith was about Harry Kuehl. We used to go trick-or-treating at Harry Kuehl's house. His wife was dead fit.
Well, it was that one street you had, like, at one stage, Lee Bowyer, Harry Kuehl, Michael Bridges, just all on one street in Wetherby.
Oh, yeah. So Charlie, because you missed the start bit, I am going to give you the music question. So you can collaborate with any artist ever, dead or alive. Who would you collaborate with?
Ooh. Robert Smith. That The Cure.
Now, Tom, do you want to break your choices to him? Because you said he'd be fuming when he found out.
One of them, I thought you would. So one of them, I think you'd agree, like, great songwriter, not comparable at all to anything that we do. So I'm saying Tom Petty. So I think you'd be like, yeah, that's an okay choice. Then the other one was electronic, and I was saying Fortet. And I thought the idea of you and you listening to Fortet amused me.
Yeah, it will forever amuse you.
So Charlie, Robert Smith then, here's the deal. You can collaborate with Robert Smith tomorrow, but you can never, ever be involved in music ever again. Do you collaborate?
Nah. I just listen to his albums and Robbie's tunes.
Oh, you're proper good mates. You both stuck together. He said the same. He wouldn't collaborate. He said he'd rather keep playing with you.
Yeah. I mean, we've been doing it since we were kids together, and we are our best mates, first and foremost. So I'd take that. And I'd imagine boring to be around, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? He's one of my favourite songwriters. I think in terms of the melodies he creates, just like they blow me away. So I'd like to get like in his brain when he's doing it, but I don't think I'd go for a pint with him.
No, I'd be down my list of people to go for a pint with, I've got to say.
Yeah, and that is from Birmingham, that accent. You're not hanging around with that all night.
So I'd like to apologise to all our viewers from Birmingham. Robert Smith.
I'm pretty sure he's not from Birmingham either. So I think you've just had a.
Where's he from? He sounds like a Brummie.
I think he's from Essex.
No.
I'm doubting myself.
Right, we're going to do some super quick Googling.
I feel like he's Essex.
Robert.
Why does he sound like a Brummie?
Robert Smith. This is entertainment at its highest. It's not going to say now on Wikipedia, is it? He's from Blackpool.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. He's from
Straight
Blackpool.
up, he's from Blackpool.
Oh, Jesus.
There we go.
Well, he probably had a side job in one of the horror houses then or something, didn't he, growing up? I just never bought any new clothes.
Gents, I've loved it. Charlie, I love the short time you were on, mate. Honestly, thank you so much for coming on and making it. You know, it happens. You know, we set it up early so you could get away and watch Rangers Hibs. He could get away and watch Leeds and Villa. So everyone would be happy. But, you know, gents, I wish you all the luck for the coming year. I hope everything goes well. Good luck with the big gig. Get back in Leeds in July now, which is mentioned earlier. If you are watching, as we said earlier, go and download their music. They're called the Superlatives. If you like that 90s, noughties, indie vibe, you will love their music. Fact. So for now, it's back to the show. There we are then, decent couple of lads they were as well, so why not do the right thing, head on over, download some of their music, give it a listen. They were sound lads, so it'd be good to go and repay the favour by tuning in to some of their music. So the Crap Kit Cup kicked off last weekend. We had the first tie of the first round. You may remember it was 1860 Munich against Australia. Well, it's time to reveal the winner, and with almost 2/3 of the vote, your winner was 1860 Munich. So there we go. So they are through to the second round of the Crap Kit Cup. So we have another tie for you this week, and it's an all Spanish club affair, but it's one Spanish club going head to head with themselves. So step forward, Barcelona, who this week give us two crap kits to throw into the cup. So we start as this nicely coloured but very odd patterned effort from 1995. So here's the first entrant, Barcelona 1995. I like the colour, but the pattern. Ooh. Anyway, they weren't happy with that though, because they decided in 2013 they were going to bring out this monstrosity. So there we go. So remember, you're voting for which one is the crappiest, not which one is your favourite, which one is the crappiest of the two kits. The winner goes through to the second round where they will join 1860 Munich in the hat for the next round. So back to the road to Wembley. Now, we may remember last week we had Mike Long from Manchester City on talking about them because they were our team in the FA Cup. They were playing Fulham last weekend. Now, I thought the curse was going to strike again when Fulham took an early lead, but no, City done the job. They got through easy in the end, 4-1 winners. And they got a draw against Peterborough away in the next round. So we'll be getting Mike back on the show before the next round. The first person to be back on twice in the show in this whole FA Cup run. Absolutely incredible. We got all the way to the 5th round before somebody's come on twice. This weekend is the turn of the FA Trophy and the FA Vase. Unusual for them both to be played on the same weekend, but that's how the FA have set it up this year. So we'll start with the trophy, where our penalty shootout heroes, Halifax Town, that's who we're following. So they are at home in a mouth-watering clash. They got Notts County on Saturday, so that should be a cracker of a game, that one there. Can the Shaymen keep us on the road to Wembley in the FA Trophy? In the Vase, you may recall Hamworthy United, they were 2-0 down in the last round at half-time. They came back to win 3-2. Well, they're at home again. They host Tunbridge Wells this time. Can we make it a double H through to the next round? Halifax and Hamworthy. The one thing I do know is all of that though is Wembley, Wembley. We'll beat the first man. We're on the road to Wembley. Yes, we are on the road to Wembley. However, we bring along my little friend Ted. So Time for our sarcastic friend to join us for another week and another dose of his little comedy sketches and, of course, his Little Knob of the Week award. Reidy, first off, I am not a medicine. You don't have a dose of me. And secondly, it's Little Knob of the Week, not my Little Knob award. Well, I said Little Knob of the Week. No, you said Little Knob. And on the contrary, I have a whoa, stop Ted. And anyway, the whole dose thing is just a figure of speech. It's just a figure of a dose of Ted, a helping of Ted. That would have been better than dose. Well, okay, a helping of Ted is on the way. I'm not a dessert. Oh, Jesus Christ. How long will this go on for? Anyway, so have you got any nominations for this week's Little Knob of the Week award? Well, the collective that is the British media. What have they done this time? Boris parties, is it? No, Frank Lampard's Everton. Oh, yeah. So Everton have washed away 100 years of history, literally overnight, by appointing Frank Lampard. They are now known as Frank Lampard's Everton. It's getting quite a goal. Is every team that appoints him going to be known as Frank Lampard's ex? Frank Lampard's Doncaster Rovers. That's probably where he'll end up. Anyway, the media didn't win it. So who did win it then, Ted? Reidy, I have an absolute standout winner for you. Oh, who's got it? Well, first off, to be technically, we should change the name to Massive Knob of the Week. Interesting. Tell me more, Ted. Who's won it? The Leicester fan who ran onto the pitch and started throwing punches at Forest players after they scored. Oh, what an absolute weapon. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for the hostile atmospheres of local derbies. I love it. In fact, as a football fan, those games that are on the edge are some of the best games to go to ever. But there is a line. And jumping across the barrier and started throwing punches at players. What an absolute bell end. It really is. And I'm not being funny. He's been arrested. His face is all over the media. He's probably getting sacked. He's always going to be known as that. But sadly, he's probably living it up at the moment. But anyway, we're not going to name him. He's been named. You can go and find out his name if you really want to. But to the Leicester fan who ran on the pitch, it's only a little knob there. But you are, without a shadow of doubt, Ted's Massive Knob of the Week for running on the pitch. Anyway, are you back to guess the age of Kenny Burns a bit later on, Ted? Yep, wrinkle count at the ready. Okay, Ted, we'll see you later then with your wrinkle count. Musical interlude time again, where Kian decides to give us something we need to be listening to this week. So here is Kian Says Listen Up.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another Kian Says Listen Up, where I give you a song to listen to this week. And this week's song, give you a little hint, just look up there, not Rob Cross, Liam Gallagher, but it's Everything's Electric by Liam Gallagher. It's his new single, made with Dave Grohl, so two legends together. And yeah, it's a good song. I think it's charted at 5th, which for guitar music is pretty good. So yeah, get on that. Everything's Electric, Liam Gallagher. He's performing it live tonight. I'm recording this on Tuesday, so you can probably get that version by the time this comes out as well. So Everything's Electric, Liam Gallagher. See you in a bit.
There we go then. So Kian Says Listen Up this week. It is the mighty Liam Gallagher and his new single, Everything's Electric. Absolute banger of a tune. Superb. We've waited a couple of years now for this single, and oh man, he didn't disappoint. Proper old school Oasis style single. Absolutely love it. Anyway, let's move on to the Lineal European Cup. So, double Lineal European Cup action last weekend. We had the Lineal European Cup and the Lineal UEFA Cup. So, we'll start with the European Cup, and the boys from Arminia Bielefeld made a third defence of the trophy as they drew 1-1 with Borussia Mönchengladbach. Bielefeld actually took the lead through Yanni Serra, and although Alassane Plia equalised, brilliantly pronounced I hear you say, they did hold out for the draw and retain the cup. Next up, they are on the road on Sunday with a trip to Hoffenheim as they look to defend the trophy again. In the Lineal UEFA Cup, the boys from Debrecen, remember them from Hungary, they also made it 3 defences. They travelled to Fehervar and ran out 2-1 winners. The home side, they took the lead actually for Fehervar through Aleph on 42 minutes. But right on half time, Mark Szeszki equalised. Yes, I know, fluent Hungarian. The game was heading for a draw, which would have meant that Debrecen were retaining the trophy, but they didn't want to do it that way. And our man Sheshki, he popped up with another one, and they ended up running out 2-1 winners. Next week, and wait for it, it's a home match on Saturday for Debrecen against Mezokovest. Yes. No, I haven't heard of them either. Don't worry. So Debrecen continue with the Lineal UEFA Cup. I'm not going to lie. I hope they hold it this week because that other name is really quite difficult to pronounce. Anyway, so with Ted returning, it can only mean one thing. Time for How Old the reveal. So as we know, he came up with a new secret formula where he counted the wrinkles of the players to define the age. So are we confident, Ted, this week that we've got it right? As confident as I can be with this stupid game? Well, you said that you had a foolproof plan that would never fail, even though it's actually only worked once so far. Well, I hadn't allowed for Botox. I hadn't allowed for Photoshopping. Oh yeah, because I'm brilliant at Photoshopping. I mean, anyone that watches this show will know how good I am at technology and Photoshopping the likes. So anyway, Ted, how old do you think our man was? Well, he's been quite sly. He's used a bit of a sweep over to cover his wrinkles. But I think I counted 30, so I'm going for that. Well, let's see, shall we? So when this photo of Kenny Burns was taken, I can reveal he was 29 years old. That bloody sweep over, Reidy, killed my chance of getting it right. Admit it, Ted. Your brilliant theory is absolutely flawed. No, Reidy, it's perfect, but there's cheating going on, I tell you. Cheating. Okay, Ted, well, you enjoy your week and we'll see you next week. Anyway, there we go. Another show done and dusted. I hope you've enjoyed this week's show. If you have and you are new to the show, click that subscribe down below. If you're a regular viewer and you came back for more, thank you so much. Don't forget, get involved, drop your comments, drop your likes. Get involved with the Crap Kit Cup. Very important you vote for that. Vote for the crappiest kit. And as we always say, if you're all on board the BTFM bus, ding ding, next stop, Thursday the 17th of February for what will be 3/4 of a century, episode 75. So for now, everybody, stay safe.